Okie dokie, boys and girls, if you're only interested in the chinups, please skip ahead using the chapters on this video because that's gonna be the finisher for today's workout. But before we get to the finisher, we have the main workout to do as well. And well, as for today, so far I have done a 5 kilometer run and a 2 hour bike ride. And to be honest, the last thing I want to do right now is some strength training. I just want to eat breakfast, but I don't have time tonight, so it's not ideal, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So what I'm doing today is, as the main workout, some one-arm pull-ups. I don't think that's a surprise to people who have been watching the channel as of late, but I'm gonna do a similar session to last time. I'm toning down the intensity, doing a bit more reps than I usually do, although only 3 sets. It's not gonna be that much reps. Like, I'm just gonna aim for 3 by 5 again. However, this time I'm just gonna progress the slightest amount, and you'll see that in the last set. But first, I'm just gonna do 3 sets of 5 one-arm pull-ups, a bit of a dead hang at the bottom, just like last time, and yeah, I'll see you at the other side of it. Rest time is gonna be, well, I'm gonna do 1 set every 5 minutes, and with the remainder time, I'm gonna rest. So it's gonna be about 4 minutes of rest. I want to keep a longer rest time in between these sets. All right, so far these sets have just looked exactly the same as last full workout, but now the bit of progress comes in. I'm gonna take my old judo belt and I'm gonna put a 1 kilo weight around it, and well, put on the belt itself as well. So I'm gonna add 1 kilo of weight to my one-arm pull-up. That's barely anything. Perhaps I won't even notice it, but it's there. It's there mentally, and perhaps even though I don't notice the difficulty rising a lot, right? Taking these small steps is basically what's gonna bring up my base. At the moment, I'm tired as hell from all of the push-ups I've been doing, all of the cycling this morning, all of the cycling I do throughout the week, right? I've been doing quite a lot of volume lately, and so, I want to build my one-arm pull-ups, but it's not my main goal at the moment. And so it's not my main goal. So if I can just even maintain my one-arm pull-ups, that's already a win. But if I can, unnoticed make some progress, right? If I can slowly make progress to the point that I don't even notice it, well, guess what? All of these small additions will turn into a big addition over the months. Just like with front lever last year, I was just, doing front lever pull-ups consistently 2 times a week, not really aiming for a certain goal, but just adding a little bit every week, I guess, right? And before I noticed it, I was at my peak all-time strength, and perhaps the same can happen with these pull-ups. So that's the idea, make progress, but as slowly as possible. Kind of backwards thinking, but I think it's a good approach. So let's go. Five pull-ups, three sets. Let's ignore the weight, I don't even feel it on my back, so I shouldn't think about it. But if I keep adding a little bit every couple of weeks, and it becomes, quite a few kilos, and then I remove it, that's when I'll notice. But that's gonna be it for the main training for the 100 pull-ups. I'm gonna quickly do a set of greasing the groove for my push-ups as active rest in between exercises for the pull day, and then we'll get to some chin-ups. Okie dokie, so let's get started with the chin-ups. And the day before yesterday, I accidentally did a variation of the chin-up so nice I had to do it twice. Or well, I guess I will be doing it a lot more frequently in the future, more than 2 times. But anyway, I've been doing a similar variation of the chin-up as of late, and basically it's an explosive chin-up where you pull your chest to the bar, or maybe even not, you're not aiming for your chest, but rather for like your rib cage, like right below your chest. You're trying to get that part to the bar. And I was doing these chin-ups explosively, but the day before yesterday, I figured let's do some science-based training. Let's add a quick pass at the top. And so I was not using momentum anymore. I was just, pulling to the top and then basically stopping with my rib cage at the bar. Now, if you truly want to get your rib cage to the bar, you have to be quite strong. It's not a beginner exercise, but that's not important. It's not important whether you get your rib cage to the bar or not, but you want to pull with that intention, You want to have your chin up grip go slightly wider, by the way. It's going to be easier to do your chin ups like this instead of like this, But you want to pull with the intention of getting your rib cage to the bar. But even if you don't, even if you stop here, you're going to have the same activations in your mid back and in your shoulders when you arch like this, right? And it's a feel good exercise. You're using all of these smaller muscles in your back, and I really like the feeling of it. So I'm going to do it again today. And well, I'll show you an example with my first set, and then we can talk about when you should use this chin up, but also when you shouldn't, right? Because I think it's a good variation, but also in some cases, depending on your goal, there's no point in doing it. So let's get started. I'll show you an example. All right, that's 10 reps, and it's already feeling very difficult. So I'm not getting with my rib cage exactly to the bar, but that's my intention, and well, the bar ends up here. Even if you don't touch the bar, that's okay. Don't go, crunching like this. The important part is that you're arched backwards and exposing your chest. And holy hell, yeah, I really like this feeling. struggling to get 8 reps even now. Okay, so when should you do these chin-ups? Well, first of all, let's take a look at what these chin-ups are targeting. In general, right, when people think chin-up, they think bicep. However, these chin-ups, because you're exposing your chest, because you're facing your chest upwards, you're automatically retracting your shoulders. And so this exercise really targets the upper or like the mid back more so, and also your rear delts. And so if you want to build your mid back, if you want to build your rear delts, this is a great exercise to target those specifically. But if you want to, grow your biceps, do regular chin-ups. If you want to grow your back, do regular chin-ups or pull-ups, right? And also something that I should mention is this exercise, it's really focused on, feeling the muscle. So you're doing the exercise kind of slowly and controlled, which of course, that's not a bad thing. That's in fact, in some cases a good thing. But I think personally, when it comes to building strength and size in your muscle in general, you want to be able to go hard. And so I would say reserve these chin-ups for perhaps later in your workout as a finisher, or on days when you're tired and you don't want to do a full workout, to kind of have a feel good, get a pump workout. Because getting strong, it requires the big muscles to activate, right? And to become tired. And so I think you're going to have a better effect building your back, building your biceps by doing regular chin-ups with perhaps a lot of weight or perhaps for a lot of reps, right? And focus on that one. If you want to, become a calisthenics endurance champion, these chin-ups are not going to get you there because they're not focused on reps. They're focused on making the exercise as difficult as possible with less reps, right? But if you don't want to do a lot of reps, if you want to build a bigger back, I think doing regular chin-ups and just going for the burn or just trying to improve in weight is going to be a better option rather than doing the same amount of reps and sets over and over again on these chin-ups and then just trying to get a better burn, basically trying to get more out of the same amount of reps. So yeah, that's how I would kind of split the usage or the usefulness for this exercise. Use it as a finisher, use it on days you're tired, use it to target your weak spots. If rear delts and mid back is your weak spot, but don't do it as a main exercise, I would say. Okie dokie, 3 sets done, and that's practically all you need, because either you're doing this exercise on an active rest day or you're doing this exercise as a finisher, but in any case, either of those cases, the main work has already been done. And so 3 sets, I did 10 reps and then 8 and 8 reps. I went until a comfortable burn, As soon as I was not able to complete a full rep anymore, I stopped, and it was an intense burn in my mid back and rear delts, but in all honesty, I could have pushed myself further, right? But I didn't, and so I was able to do 3 sets. Now, if you're going to, absolute max intensity, let's say you're doing a proper workout and this is your last finisher set, if you go full intensity, only 1 set is going to be more than enough to get you sore for the next couple days. So you could be doing these chin-ups, you pause at the top, right? And perhaps the first couple reps you get with your chest until the bar, right? But then after you're not able to do that anymore, you just continue your set. You do partial reps until you're perhaps barely able to bend your arms, and then perhaps you start using some momentum, right? You can completely trash yourself into oblivion and be absolutely destroyed from this set. And in that case, you only need 1 set. In fact, just like Mike Minzer said, doing a second sit would actually do more harm than good, because you will notice on that second sit, even if you rest like 4 minutes, you're not even going to be able to get to like 25% of your previous sit if you truly maxed out on the first one. So 1 to 3 sits, 1 to 3 sits, depending on your intensity of the sit, is more than enough. And yeah, give it a shot. Let me know how it went. I think it feels good, so hopefully you do as well. But that's gonna be it for today's workout. I am in desperate need of some breakfast, so I'll see you tomorrow.